on the Green New Deal.
In a statement, Joe Biden said the president was going to Iowa to, quote, spread more lies about the pandemic and distract from his record of failure. First Lady Melania Trump revealed that her 14-year-old son, Barron, had tested positive for coronavirus. She said that the president's youngest son never exhibited any symptoms and that she and Barron have since tested negative for the virus. The second presidential debate was supposed to be held Thursday night. It was canceled because President Trump refused to debate remotely after his COVID-19 diagnosis. The candidates are instead going to hold separate televised town hall meetings. The president will be at a rally in Greenville, North Carolina, right before that town hall Thursday night.
CBS News correspondent Deborah Alfarone at the White House. Joe Biden did not make any public appearances today. American regulators have approved the first drug for treating Ebola. The Food and Drug Administration approved Regeneron's medication for both adults and children. The drug is one of 4 tested during an outbreak in Congo that killed nearly 2,300 people. Survival was significantly better drug. The test was ended ahead of schedule last year to give all patients access to the medications. The approved drug is a combination of antibodies that kill the virus. The U.S. will buy thousands of doses for the Strategic National Stockpile. More trouble up in the Bay Area. You heard President Trump mentioning brownouts. They're coming up north to Northern California. That's coming up right now. Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 5. And here's Tony Campos.
Debris in the middle lane, and it's causing vehicles to swerve to avoid that. On the 10 East at the connector to the 405 South in West LA, there is a vehicle stalled. It looks like it might be in the right lane, and again, their vehicles are swerving to avoid. Traffic's pretty light on that 10 East coming out of Santa Monica, so it's coming in a little briskly, so that's why they're having a swerve coming up on that right at the last minute. The 710 North, the connector to the 405 North, this is actually it's just on the 710 North, just past the 405. All lanes have been stopped to remove a vehicle partially blocking that left lane, and it looks like they're still stopped at about a quarter-mile backup. There's a full freeway closure going to Park northbound 5 from Artesia Boulevard to Carmenita for Caltrans work, and coming up at 11 o'clock, expect a full closure on the southbound side from Carmenita to Artesia in Santa Fe Springs. Next report at 10:45. I'm Tanya Campos with more traffic reports more often. KNX 1070 News Radio.
Tonight's down into the 60s and 70s, and then for tomorrow, 80s and 90s again for Friday. Again, pretty quiet week of weather aside from that heat advisory that's with us until Friday evening. Right now, Cerritos 73, 68 in Huntington Beach, and Lake Elsinore 77 and 36.
Got a legal problem? Avoid court's massive litigation. Confidential, peaceful resolutions with legally binding results. Quick solutions for any legal or dispute issue. Call toll-free now, 833-286-4326. Again, that's 833-286-4326. Or go to 833-avoidcourt.com. Save your time and money today.
The model for world-class competition has always been faster, higher, stronger. It's the same for Navien, makers of condensing tankless water heaters. Faster to install and set up. Higher performance and efficiency to provide endless hot water. Stronger with the industry's strongest warranty. All because of the copper-free stainless steel heat exchanger built in every unit. Learn about Navien's condensing tankless water heaters and find a Navien contractor at tanklessmadesimple.com. That's tanklessmadesimple.com.
With United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans, there's so much to take advantage of, like $0 copays on preventive dental care.
Wow.
Plus, the nation's largest Medicare dental network.
Wow.
It's time to take advantage. To learn more, visit AdvantageWow.com. That's AdvantageWow.com.
$0 cost share for in-network preventive dental care specified services only. Benefit rates. Patient exclusions apply. Network size varies by market. Wow.
It's 10:38 on KNX, and we have breaking news. A wildfire erupted tonight near Redlands, east of San Bernardino.
Really intense flames here. This fire is definitely growing. All the dry brush there is here to burn, and there are definitely some homes threatened. The fire department has definitely come to this home here, and they're definitely wanting people to leave now. Just how close the flames are at this point, and they are creeping in that direction. Again, the only thing that's aiding firefighters right now are the winds are fairly calm, but there is a lot of dry brush. So you have the fire department over here just off of Live Oak Canyon. This is Live Oak Canyon near where we have some of the ground crews getting into place.
KNX 1070's Desmond Shaw flying over Redlands. Some folks who know in California are going to be without power for a couple of days as the nation's largest utility shuts down thousands of customers due to fire danger.
PG&E began turning off power to more than 50,000 Northern California customers as dry, windy conditions renewed the threat of fire in a season already marked by deadly, devastating blazes. The shutoffs will affect nearly 24 counties, mostly in the Sierras and San Francisco Bay Area, and could last 48 hours. The company was criticized by the public and regulators because it turned off power to millions last year, so now it's doing it as a preemptive measure. It's aimed at preventing fires being started by power lines that have been damaged amid high winds. PG&E equipment sparked several massive blazes that destroyed thousands of homes and killed more than 100 people since 2017. It is about 1% of PG&E's 5.1 million customers. Paul Brill, KNX 1070 News Radio.
The LA County Sheriff's Department has released more information regarding the non-fatal shooting of a patient at Harbor UCLA Medical Center last week. Sheriff Alex Villanueva says the deputy reacted to an immediate threat from a violent individual.
Sheriff's homicide detectives confirmed the man was smashing a window inside a fourth-floor room with a heavy metal object, threatening medical personnel and patients. One of two deputies guarding an injured deputy's room nearby got to the location and got people out. The suspect went down the hallway to the room the deputies were guarding and broke in the door, was fired on and hit 7 times by one of the deputies. Sheriff Alex Villanueva, responding to questions, said while a hospital behavioral response team had been summoned, the situation evolved too fast and the threat had to be stopped.
Their behavioral response team, great idea when they're there. If they're not there and there's a life and death decision, the deputies are going to make that decision. I expect them to.
The sheriff did comment, while there were no body cams or hospital video to record what happened in this incident, the department is in the process of training and equipping deputies with body cams as quickly as possible. Pete Demetrio, KNX 1070 News Radio.
LAPD detectives have arrested 4 men in connection with a murder in South LA over the summer. It happened during a big spike in violent crime this year that authorities are desperate to stop.
And the victim in this case, Austin Belisle, was shot and killed for his jewelry in broad daylight on July 31st. Belisle ran and tried to escape but didn't make it. Detective Nellie Knight.
3 people are charged with murder. The 4th person was charged with it.
Prosecutors added gang enhancements to the charges. Investigators have been dealing with a big surge in shootings and murders this year, particularly in South LA, and have been trying to do something about it. Captain Lee Sands.
We have developed shoot and response teams within Metropolitan Division. We're working closely with detectives from homicide and divisional detectives.
Family members of the victim, though, were just glad that the suspects were finally caught.
Take this as a step forward to say, well, another crime has been solved. Unfortunately, it's in our neighborhood.
Detectives say video from surveillance cameras helped them track down the suspects in this case. In South LA, John Baird, KNX 1070 News Radio.
West LA, 10 days before the 405, a crash is blocking the right lane. Traffic in 4 minutes. It's 10:41.
It's crunchy!
Creamy!
Sweet!
Salty. Nature Valley sweet and salty peanut bars. Bursting with crunchy peanuts, dipped in creamy nut butter coating. Delicious. Nature Valley.
A word from Sonny and Hans of Sono Interiors.
After 4 generations, we know interiors, reupholstery, draperies, refinishing. Call us today for a free estimate.
Call 888-55-SARDO. SardoInteriors.com. We all have wished at one time or another if we could just do 2 things at the same time. Well, if you're about to refinance or purchase a new home, here are 2 things you should absolutely do at the same time. Apply with at least 2 lenders. From HMS Capital, having 2 loans processed at the same time accomplishes a couple of important things. First, it maintains continual competition for you, the customer, right up to the finish line. This results in a lower interest rate that saves you money. Second, it improves your chances of a successful transaction by eliminating the dependence on a single lender. HMS Capital requires no advance fees to apply, there's no appraisal fee, and no credit fee. With our razor-sharp interest rates, we are completely confident that no matter how many lenders you apply with, we will win your business. So call HMS Capital today and let us show you how doing 2 things at once really can save you money. Call HMS Capital at 833-255-5698. 833-255-5698. That's 833-255-5698. Or go to hmscapital.com.
HMS Capital Funding is a DBA Corporation Firm, MNL is a member. HMS Capital is licensed by the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act. License number 0130360, equal housing lender.
833-255-5698.
This is termite swarming season. It's here. There is no time to waste. I want you to call Pacific Coast Termite. It's Vicki Moore, and if you see termites flying around your home or business, odds are you've been colonized. And if you don't see them, trust me, they could be inside anyhow, just munching away, doing some real damage. When you call Pacific Coast Termite, they will send a uniformed technician to your home or your business to do a free, thorough inspection. He'll tell you if you have termites or not, and then you can decide. There's no pressure. Pacific Coast Termite uses orange oil and Algicet. They follow all the CDC health guidelines. There's no big circus tent over your home. Everybody just stays there during the treatment. It's that easy. If you call now at 800-PACIFIC, you will get 10% off your termite treatment plus a 2-year guarantee. So do what I did. Call Pacific Coast Termite at 800-PACIFIC. You will love their customer service. They're honest, effective, and friendly. Call them today. 800. Online at PacificCoastTermite.com.
Abuse while in the Boy Scouts? You may be entitled to compensation, no matter how long ago the abuse happened. But your time to file a claim is limited. Call 800-993-2218 for more information. As a result of thousands of victims filing sexual abuse claims, the Boy Scouts have filed for bankruptcy protection, and the bankruptcy court has set November 16, 2020 as the deadline for abuse survivors to file a claim. If you are suffering from sexual abuse while in the Boy Scouts, you may be entitled to compensation, no matter how long ago the abuse happened. Call for more information with one of our compassionate counselors today. Remember, the bankruptcy court has set November 16, 2020 as the deadline for abuse survivors to file a claim. Call 800-993-2218. That's 800-993-2218 today. Your call is completely anonymous. For more information on this claim, go to officialbsaclaims.com. Sponsored by Mark J. Burnett Partners, LLP.
This is Southern California's only 24-hour local news and traffic station, KNX 1070 News Radio. Depend on us.
I'm Brian King coming up.
Is she ready for the job? Ready to lose privacy by becoming a justice? I'm Craig Figure reporting just one of the questions asked of Judge Amy Coney Barrett.
I'm Bloomberg's Mona Rivera. COVID is driving more hospitals into bankruptcy. That story is coming up in 5 minutes. How small seismic improvements to buildings can make a difference if it stands or crumbles. I'm Emily Valdez.
These stories coming up in the next 15 minutes. 10:45, traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 5s. And here is Tony Campos.
We've got a new crash 10 east before the 405, and it's a Jeep down the right shoulder. That the airbags have been deployed to maybe injuries. The right lane is blocked right now. We've got 2 other vehicles that are in those right lanes, and CHP is headed there right now. The backup starts at about Bundy. They just cleared a car blocking the left lane, 710 north at the 405. The stop lanes to get that done. That was cleared, and now come towards 710 north right at the 405. A big one that's stalled out in the middle lane. In Buena Park, northbound 5, that's a full freeway closure from Artesia Boulevard to Carmenita for Caltrans Worth. Just a heads up, in about 15 to 20 minutes, they will be shutting down that southbound 5 in Santa Fe Springs, Carmenita to Artesia. There's a similar Artesia Highway at Coast Springs Road. Just so you know, eastbound and westbound lanes of that highway are closed for about another half hour or so. And a lot of spectators going on the 10 freeway in Redlands. A brush fire is broken out. Live Oak Canyon Road, and it is visible from the freeway. Next report at 10:55. I'm Tanya Campos. More traffic reports more often. KNX 1070 News Radio. The warming trend continues across the Southland, and temperatures will be even hotter tomorrow because of the strong high pressure system that's sitting over the west coast. We now have a fire weather watching for mountains and also some of our inland valleys, including the Santa Cruz Valley and the Inland Empire, because of this heat and low humidity. And then on top of that, our heat advisory continues also till about Friday evening. Highs tomorrow, triple digits for the Inland Empire. Valleys, mid-90s for the high desert, mid-70s for the mountains, low 90s for LA for County Metro, and mid-80s for the coast. Southern California's most accurate and dependable forecast on CBS 2 meteorologist Amber Lee from KNX 1070 News Radio.
10:47, Senator Amy Klobuchar had one of the more tense exchanges during day 3 of the Supreme Court nominee.
Senator asked Judge Amy Coney Barrett a question that really goes to the
for answers. Does the First Amendment protect a reporter's decision to protect a confidential source?
That would be eliciting a legal conclusion from me, which I can't answer in a hypothetical form. It's also a question, as you point out, that's closely related to ones that are being litigated.
Okay, one last time. Agree that if reporters cannot protect their sources, they are less likely to be able to find confidential witnesses willing to share information.
Again, that's not something that I can give an opinion on.
That answer followed another answer where the judge couldn't say if she knew for sure if the president wanted to overturn Obamacare. Senator Klobuchar incredulous at the answer, saying it's been in the news so much it's impossible not to know that's a desire of President Trump. Craig Figner, KNX 1070 News Radio.
LA County is poised to prevent small private gatherings again.
The health officer order will soon be updated to align with recent changes in state guidance, which allow outdoor gatherings of people from no more than 3 different households, as long as they all wear a face covering and stay at least 6 feet apart.
Noting that all gatherings with people who are not in your household increase your risk for transmitting or becoming infected with COVID-19.
Barbara Ferrer is the county's public health director.
It is recommended that if you do gather with 2 other households, you do so with the same households each time, creating a quasi-bubble that can reduce the risk of spreading the virus to others.
The decision to lift the ban on gatherings comes as the county's estimated transmission rate is rising. We're also seeing an uptick in cases, and they're now expected to keep going up. And there's been an increase in worksite outbreaks.
We are threading the needle here, but I think it is appropriate for us to try to do some of the activities that people are desperate to be able to do with absolute adherence to the guidance.
Since the pandemic began, more than 285,000 county residents have tested positive for COVID-19 and more than 6,800 have died. Claudia Piscuta, KNX 1070 News Radio.
There are about 20 new coronavirus deaths in Los Angeles County, one of them an adult under 30 who did not have underlying health conditions, and there are more than 1,300 new infections. 10:50, here's Mona Rivera.
It's not what traders wanted to hear. Treasury Secretary Mnuchin saying that stimulus is unlikely before Election Day. And after those comments, there was a sell-off on Wall Street. The Dow fell 166 points, more than 0.5%. The S&P dropped 2/3%, and the Nasdaq skidded 0.8%. Hundreds of hospitals could be forced to shut down due to the pandemic, according to new data from the American Hospital Association. It estimates COVID-19 will cost U.S. hospitals more than $323 billion this year. More than 3 dozen hospitals have already filed for bankruptcy. Half could be losing money by year's end. Zoom Video is rolling out stronger data encryption to address complaints about Zoom bombing and security lapses. Zoom says the new encryption feature will be available next week on an optional basis. You check your money at 20 and 50 for each hour. I'm Bloomberg's Mona Rivera from the HMS Capital Money Desk, KNX 1070 News Radio.
The news is constantly changing, and now there's an even better way to stay on top of the stories that matter to you. KNX1070.com. It's all new, more mobile friendly, with more KNX podcasts, more in-depth coverage, and more ways for you to stay on top of the story. Add KNX1070.com to your favorites and get push notifications for all the big stories around the clock. KNX 1070 News Radio and the all-new KNX1070.com. Depend on us.
Do you believe in miracles?
Anthony and Gigi most certainly do. So in this, there was no hesitation.
They faithfully called the Smell Good plumbers at MikeDiamond.com.
Gigi said architect Josh arrived on time and smelled good. He worked for 14 hours to get us back up and running.
Okay, what about that miracle?
The repairs took place in a tight crawl space, which required Josh to work on his belly and play contortionist much of the time, says Anthony. He completed the job while remaining upbeat and answering our every question.
Unsurprisingly, this isn't Anthony and Gigi's first experience with Mike Diamond Plumbing.
They're always professional, quick to respond, reasonably priced,
and every tech is extremely friendly.
In other words, Mike Diamond Plumbing has been nothing short of miraculous.
I'm Mike Diamond, and I guarantee my plumbers will show up on time and smell good, or your house call is free.
Schedule your service at MikeDiamond.com or call 1-800-446-MIKE.
Contractor license number 399170.
If you have sleep apnea and struggle using CPAP, it can leave you feeling tired, irritable.
That's the cutest puppy I've ever seen.
Fatigued.
Can someone please help me lift this tissue?
Forgetful.
Who put this banana in the toaster?
You did?
Oh, yeah.
And even impact your long-term health. Fortunately, now there's Inspire, a sleep apnea treatment that works inside your body. Just the click of a remote. That's right, a button. Inspire is a small device placed during a same-day outpatient procedure. Simply click the button on the Inspire remote before you fall asleep. As you sleep, Inspire keeps you breathing normally and sleeping peacefully. No mask, no hose, just sleep. Inspire. Sleep apnea innovation. Inspire is not for everyone. Talk to your doctor to see if it's right for you and review important safety information at inspiresleep.com.
It's 10:53 on KNX. Hopefully we won't add a big earthquake to the list of nightmares in 2020, but you never know.
LA area leaders are urging property owners to get their buildings checked for problems that could cause them to crumble.
We cannot let an earthquake create another disaster in California.
Maria Salinas is the president of the LA Area Chamber of Commerce.
Businesses are part of that solution, and one way of doing that is through preparedness.
15,000 buildings in the city of LA have been identified as needing earthquake retrofitting, but says many structures built before the late 90s may also have problems.
A lot of times getting the building to the next performance level may be so insignificant compared to the damages it may have in an event of a major earthquake.
He said statewide 150,000 buildings have been flagged for earthquake retrofitting. In downtown LA, Emily Valdez, KNX 1070 News Radio.
The FAA is investigating another apparent sighting of a person wearing a jetpack in the LAX flight path. The air traffic controller sounded a bit surprised when she got the word from a China Airlines crew member around 2 in the afternoon.
Why not pick? Was it a UAV or was it a jetpack? That's jetpack. That's too tiny. Too fast.
UAV stands for Unmanned Aerial Vehicle, basically a drone. The latest sighting comes a little less than 2 months after pilots for American Airlines and JetBlue reported seeing a guy with a jetpack in the LAX flight path. Those sightings were at 3,000 feet. Today's was at 6,000. Amy Coney Barrett offers new clues on how she may rule in cases during day 3 of her confirmation hearing. That and more coming up at the top of the hour. 10:55, traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 5s. Here's Tiny Campos.
On the 210 East Avenue, we've got a 4-car crash. 2 of those vehicles are blocking the middle lanes, and we've got a few vehicles on the right shoulder. So there is backup starting to build CHP on the way. City of Industry, 7th Avenue. There's a vehicle blocking one of the middle lanes. It does have lights on, and now we are hearing that there might be somebody that hit that car, so we'll keep you updated on that. CHP is headed there. 710 North at the 405, there's a big rig. It is stalled right in the middle lanes and starting to cause a little bit of backup. Now, there was still some backup left over from a previous car. CHP had to stop on lanes for it to get removed almost in that same spot. There's a full freeway closure in Buena Park on the northbound 5 from Artesia Boulevard to Carmenita, and there is a SIG alert on the Ortega Highway. It's at Crow Springs Road, and we just got an update on that. The eastbound lanes just opened up. The westbound lanes remain blocked. Next report at 11:05. I'm Tanya Campos with more traffic reports more often. KNX 1070 News Radio.
Most tonight down into the 60s and 70s. Another fairly warm night out there tomorrow, 80s and 90s. Once again, not much change in our weather for this entire week, as we've been telling you. Minor relief on Saturday, then you'll start to feel it Sunday into Monday. That's when it's going to feel a little bit more fall-like out there. 71 downtown Los Angeles. We've got 75 in Encino and in Thousand Oaks right now. 69 degrees at 10:57.
Hi, I'm Aaron, owner of California Deluxe Windows. Ever notice? When your neighbors get new windows, there is a large black eye of broken stucco, uneven plaster, and even mismatched paint. At California Deluxe Windows, we never leave a ring around the window. Why? Because we are one of the only companies in California who custom crafts every window and door to your home's exact measurements. Almost everyone else on the radio is a distributor. They grab a window from a warehouse, break open your walls, shove it in, and patch things up. At California Deluxe Windows, we take pride in our work. Our installation technique is so precise, we do not break your stucco. Your house could be covered with potato chips, and we wouldn't crack one.
Call now. For a limited time, you get 20% off your entire order and interest-free financing for 1 year. 800-960-5600. 800-960-5600. That's 800-960-5600. California Deluxe Windows. Windows engineered for life. Certain terms and conditions apply. CSLB number 774.
The cost of a skilled nursing home can exceed $10,000. and denied benefits by the state when they can qualify with the appropriate legal help. Go to nhscare.com for nursing home solutions legal services.
Valvoline Instant Oil Change wants to remind you that cancer screenings are essential for your health, just like maintenance and fluids are essential for your vehicle. This month, Valvoline Instant Oil Change is helping to raise money for the American Cancer Society. Get a coupon at ValvolineFightsCancer.com and round up your invoice to help.
You guys ready to have a good time?
Tonight is TV's next hit 9 o'clock. First, it's a game-changing new Masked Singer.
These songs are blowing my mind. Bang!
Then, Kim Jong-un, TV's new hit Mr. Music Kid. Are these people incredible singers or incredible liars?
You look more like an Applebee's manager than an R&B star.
Request yours and join the fun on I Can See Your Voice. After the Masked Singer, Fox tonight. Hiring can be challenging, but ZipRecruiter makes it fast and easy. We talked to Monica Starks, who needed to hire for her company, GS Group.
As the owner of a construction company, finding the right people is a very difficult task. So I use ZipRecruiter.
ZipRecruiter finds the right people for your job and actively invites them to apply.
With ZipRecruiter, we've hired everyone from accountants to project managers to field scientists.
And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The news you need now more than ever from the people you trust. From the Antimalone Barrow Smart Studios, Southern California's only 24-hour local news and traffic. KNX and KITH and HD2 Los Angeles. KNX 1070 News Radio. Depend on us.
Coming up, our top local story. The LA City Council votes to create a pilot program of unarmed mental health responders.
I'm Margaret Carrero. Massive haul of meth and other drugs made by the DEA in Southern California.
The coronavirus infection rate is on the rise in LA County. I'm Brian Ping. These stories plus traffic every 10 minutes on the bias. CBS News covers the world at 11 o'clock.
CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
Mayor Rubin, over and over, Amy Coney Barrett told Senate Judiciary Committee members she'd be her own judge if confirmed to the Supreme Court.
Illinois Senator Dick Durbin on the source of Democratic carry out President Trump's wishes.
Could it have come from the president's tweets of what he expects the Supreme Court nominee to do politically for him?
But Barrett says she put the law above all else.
Judicial activism is bad from either side.
Steve Dorsey, CBS News, Washington.
Following 2 days of questioning, today the committee will start considering her nomination. Red flag warnings are posted in 14 states from California to Indiana. KPIX reporter Emily Turner reports California utilities have started turning off power to prevent new fires. Zones 3 and 4. Big Mountains, Mount Diablo area, East Bay Hills, and Santa Cruz Mountains. Customers in the risk areas got the 2-day warning yesterday in order to prepare for what has become an almost regular drill.
Actually went to Lucky this morning, bought a cooler and a couple of bags of ice just to get out in front of it because we've been through this about 3 or 4 times over the last few years.
All of this is an evolving situation, really dependent on the weather. Of course, PG&E will be updating who will be losing power pretty regularly.
First Lady Melania Trump posted a personal essay about her battle with coronavirus on the White House website. CBS's Weijia Jiang reports from Washington.
First Lady Melania Trump is opening up tonight about her son's COVID-19 diagnosis and her own battle with the virus, writing, "My fear came true when 14-year-old Barron Trump tested positive," adding, "Luckily, he is a strong teenager and exhibited no symptoms." Mrs. Trump was saying she had body aches, a cough, and felt extremely tired.
The White House announced Wednesday 2 Americans were released by Iran-backed militants in Yemen. CBS's Paula Reed has details.
The prisoner exchange that resulted in the return of 2 Americans who have been held captive by the Iran-backed Houthi militia, and the remains of a third, was negotiated by several nations, including the U.S., Jordan, Oman, Saudi Arabia, and intermediaries for Iran, and brokered by the UN Special Envoy Martin Griffiths and U.S. hostage negotiators.
The U.S. Postal Service agreed Wednesday to reverse changes that slowed mail service nationwide. That includes reduced hours and removal of collection boxes and mail sorting machines. The agreement settled a lawsuit filed by Montana's governor. This is the
Sponsored by
and Progressive Insurance. Drivers who save with Progressive save over $750 on average. Call or click today and find out if we could save you hundreds on your car insurance.
Have you ever thought about saying goodbye to your job? Just walking into your boss and saying, I quit. And how would you like to commute to work without ever leaving your home? Well, not long ago, a 39-year-old entrepreneur from a billionaire family spent $20 million in 3 years to find the best home-based business in North America. He researched 70 different companies, and when he found the only one that had real long-term potential, he bought it. And right now, he's looking for people to help him turn this company into his next billion-dollar success story. So if you're serious about making money from home without having to leave your home, well, grab a pen, because I'm about to give you the address of a website. How about this unique and rare opportunity? Write this down, www.goherenext.com. Now get on your computer and go to this site now. Part-time or full-time, your income is based totally on your performance. Interested? GoHereNext.com and say goodbye to your boss tomorrow. GoHereNext.com.
How safe are those electric scooters seen in a lot of cities? There's new research from the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety.
Many of those injured on scooters were riding on the sidewalk, says study author Jessica Giacchino, even when there are rules that prohibit that. Many were first-timers.
I think a lot of it has to do with inexperience. We saw in our study that over a third of the e-scooter riders who went to the emergency room were injured on their very first ride.
Giacchino says urban planners need more research before they can decide the safest way to deploy the e-scooters. Jeff Gilbert, CBS News, Detroit.
Kimberly Clark is recalling select packages of Cottonelle flushable wipes and Gentle Plus flushable wipes because they may be contaminated with a bacteria that could cause infection. The packages were manufactured between February 7th and September 14th, and the company website has a lot number checker. I'm Era Rubin, CBS News.
This is Southern California's only 24-hour local news and traffic station, KNX 1070 News Radio. Good evening, I'm Brian Ping. Our top local stories at 11:05. The LA City Council moves forward on a pilot program that will divert some non-emergency calls involving mental health issues to unarmed responders instead of police. Mayor Garcetti reminds LA drivers that relaxed parking enforcement because of the pandemic is scheduled to end tomorrow. But first, traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 5. And here's Andy Campos.
We found a crash on the 10 East before the 405. This is an injury crash. It is blocking the right 3 lanes, and there are injuries with this. There's some backup starts right around Bundy. The 60 East at 7 Avenue. This is a crash. It looks like a car was stalled and maybe it had gotten hit. The left lane is blocked, and unknown injuries. Emergency crews are on the way. The 710 north at the 405 connector. There's a big rig blocking the middle lane. It's a full freeway closure in Winter Park, northbound 513 Boulevard to Carmenita. This is for Caltrans work. They've got a detour set up for you. And at any moment now, they are going to close the southbound 5. This is also for road work in Santa Fe Springs from Carmenita to Artesia. On the 710 north, the 5, the left lane is closed. The northbound 710 connector to the north 5 is also shut down. In Fountain Valley, 405 north of Warner, that is now a full closure. And there's a brush fire that has broken out in Redlands. This is south of the 10 freeway off of Live Oak Canyon Road. It is visible from the freeway, and that's causing some spectators slowing. Next report at 11:15. I'm Tanya Campos with more traffic reports more often. KNX 1070 News Radio.
Same old, 80s and 90s again tomorrow with sunny skies, and that heat just bearing down on us for the remainder of this week. So you can expect Saturday still warm. Sunday and Monday we do cool off enough to where we typically are in October, 70s and 80s or so. Right now, Pasadena's got 73 degrees. Santa Clarita looking at 74, and up in Palmdale it is 73 degrees at 11:07. In the wake of massive protests against police brutality and the votes to try out a new way of handling some 911 calls.
They're calling for the creation of a pilot program in which 911 operators will dispatch trained specialists to mental health, substance abuse, and other nonviolent calls for help instead of armed police officers.
We have failed people who really need our assistance. The majority of them happen to be black and brown, who are struggling with mental health issues and homelessness.
Council President Noreen Martinez.
For way too long, we've really relied on law enforcement to solve our social issues. To deal with mental health, to deal with homelessness, when clearly They're not trained to do that.
Councilman Marquise Harris Dawson praised protesters for prompting change.
A lot of people have been saying this for a long, long time, and the people who get the streets back this past spring created a political opportunity for us to do this work.
The council has directed the LAPD, City Attorney's Office, and other agencies to come up with a plan to set up the pilot program. Claudia Piscuta, KNX 1070 News Radio.
The LAPD released a statement saying the department fully supports the city council's decision. It says, quote, "We remain committed to public safety, and for too long, the men and women of the department have been asked to respond to calls that would more effectively be addressed by others." Coronavirus outbreaks are on the rise in LA County workplaces. Dr. Barbara Ferrer is the public health director.
In late September through early October, we saw the number of work sites begin to increase again. And now we had over 39 outbreaks being investigated in just a 2-week period. And for us, this is a cause for concern.
The number of new virus hospitalizations also is increasing across the county, and the R rate, the infection rate, is up to 1.05. That indicates the virus is spreading. Any number above 1 indicates such. There are about 20 new coronavirus deaths in the county. One of them is an adult under the age of 30 who did not have underlying health conditions, and there are more than 1,300 new infections. There is one return to a pre-coronavirus normal that LA residents probably don't want to see.
Park enforcement will resume tomorrow, October 15th, across the city of Los Angeles. So this is just a helpful reminder. Everybody needs to get back in the habit of checking those rules on your block, parking your car, allowing our city street sweepers to do their work to keep our city clean.
LA Mayor Eric Garcetti also said that the number of people getting tested for COVID-19 is rising. Recent raids in Southern California resulted in the biggest domestic seizure of meth in DEA history.
More than 2,200 pounds of meth was confiscated earlier this month, along with nearly 900 pounds of cocaine and 13 pounds of heroin, as part of an investigation targeting a drug trafficking operation with ties to the Sinaloa cartel. Search warrants were served at stash houses in Moreno Valley and Perris in Riverside County. Bill Bodner is the special agent in charge for the DEA in Los Angeles.
Someone who is responsible for this quantity of drugs is someone who is very, very trusted by the cartels. A low-level operative would not be trusted to hold $18 million of drugs in a house. It just wouldn't happen.
DEA Acting Administrator Timothy Shea says more than 3,000 pounds of meth, as well as heroin and fentanyl-laced pills, were seized last week by Customs and Border Protection at the Otay Mesa Port of Entry, all sending a loud and clear message to criminals.
That we mean business.
Several people were detained during the raids in Southern California, but no charges have been filed at this point. In Montebello, Margaret Carrero, KNX 1070 News Radio.
There's been another sighting of a jetpack guy or girl. The FAA sent a statement to KNX saying a China Airlines crew reported seeing what happened to be someone wearing a jetpack about 7 miles northwest of LAX. It happened a bit before 2 this afternoon at about 6,000 feet. You may remember airline crews reported someone in a jetpack in the airport flight path back on August 29th. The FAA still is looking into the latest sighting. Coming up, West LA, 10 east before the 405 crash, blocking the right-through lanes. Traffic 4 minutes away. It's 11:11.
A word from Sonny and Hans of Sarno Interiors.
After 4 generations, we've learned a bit about interiors.
Whether it's genuine leather upholstery, draperies, refinishing,
We offer a complete interior for your home.
Call 888-55-SARDO. SarnoInteriors.com.
You asked, how do I save money on my home loan?
Hey, this is Tom Tran. If you're thinking about refinancing your home, now is the time to make it happen. And IntelliLoan is who you want to call. With historic low rates at 2.09% fixed APR, that is incredible. I recently refinanced my home, and I know how stressful it can be. But with 25 years of experience and over 20,000 loans funded, you need to call IntelliLoan. They're family-owned. You can call my guy, Daryl. He's the owner. You'll love it. 2.09% fixed APR. That is unbelievable. You'll love this company. Call 1-800-978-7400. That's 1-800-978-7400. Or go to IntelliLoan.com.
Rate subject to change without notice. Minimum $300,000 loan amount, 60% LTV, and 745 score. Certain restrictions apply. Subject to credit approval. NMLS 3290. Loans made or arranged pursuant to a California Finance Lenders Law license number 6036970. Equal housing lender. IntelliLoan. Claro Smart.
It's a calling that's kept us free. It's a place to belong. What's the calling? Being a member of the Air Force Reserve. It's doing a job that makes a difference. Serving your community and your country. It's part-time service where the impact is full-time. What's the calling? Base with the Air Force Reserve at March Air Reserve Base. Call 800-257-4. Go to AFReserve.com. Sponsored by the Air Force Reserve and aired by the California Broadcasters Association.
The following is a paid commercial announcement.
This report is sponsored by Regeneron. COVID-19 continues to affect communities around our country. This is your chance to make a difference in the fight against COVID-19 for yourself, your family, and your community. The head of Global Clinical Operations at Regeneron shares more.
Your community needs your help. If you have symptoms of COVID-19, have tested positive for the virus, or live with someone who has tested positive, you may be eligible to join a treatment or prevention clinical trial for COVID-19. Regeneron scientists are applying more than 30 years of scientific expertise to combat COVID-19. And now we are asking you to join us as we help to bring this research to local communities.
If you live in or near Oxnard, call 805-391-6851 to learn more about Regeneron COVID-19 treatment and prevention trials. Stipends up to $3,650 may be available for trial participants.
It's me, your personal info. Remember when I was only in a few places? Like your wallet, your computer, or safe deposit box. Well, now I'm practically everywhere on all your devices. Where you browse, shop,
And bank online.
anywhere you log in. Oh, it's out there! And what you do online can leave you vulnerable to cyber criminals. More threats demand more protection. That's why Norton and LifeLock are now part of one company. Norton 360 with LifeLock provides all-in-one membership for your cyber safety that gives you device security, identity theft protection, a VPN for online privacy, and more. No one can prevent all cybercrime and identity theft, but Norton 360 with LifeLock is your ally in today's connected world, even if your info is on vacation. Sign up today for Norton 360 with LifeLock and save 25% or more off your first year by going to norton.com/news. That's norton.com/news for 25% off.
This is Southern California's only 24-hour local news and traffic station, KNX 1070 News Radio. Depend on us.
I'm Brian Payne. Coming up,
A fairly well-known San Fernando Valley musician's going to jail for embezzlement. I'm Bob Grill with that story.
I'm Bloomberg's Mona Rivera. Amazon wraps up its 2-day shopping event. Walmart announces 3 days. That story is coming up in 5 minutes.
the California GOP says it will not comply with tomorrow's deadline to remove unofficial ballot boxes. These stories coming up in the next 15 minutes. Right now, back to the freeways at 11:15. Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes. And Campos.
Seeing a lot of backup out of Santa Monica into West LA. This is because of a crash on the 10 East before the 405. This is an injury crash. It's blocking the right 3 lanes, but all lanes are stopped right now while they try and get this cleared. And just getting word just a moment ago that the left 3 lanes are now open. So you've got some backup. It's pretty heavy from Cloverfield. You could use an alternate, but actually if 3 lanes just opened up, you'll be moving shortly, so it'll probably take an alternate. 210 East at Citrus Avenue, all lanes have been blocked. The right 3 lanes have been blocked for a crash, and they stopped all lanes to get everything over to the right shoulder. So you might see some activity on that right shoulder as you pass Citrus. 60 East at 7th, they're doing the same thing there. There was a crash blocking lanes. CHP stopped all lanes, and they're moving everything to the right shoulder now. You got about a half mile of backup. We've got a full freeway closure on the 5 freeway between Santa Fe Springs and Buena Park. The southbound side will be diverted off at Carmenita. Northbound side diverted off at Artesia. And there's a full closure in Fountain Valley 405 North at Warner, and also 57 South from Pathfinder to Lambert. The right 2 lanes are closed. Next report at 11:25. I'm Tanya Campos before traffic reports were open. KNX 1070 News Radio.
We are still in this warm-up here in the Southland with hot, dry conditions expected as we head into the week. In fact, we're looking at gusty St. Anna winds picking up for the mountains, foothills, and inland valleys starting Thursday night and Friday. And if any new fires were to start, it would spread very fast, especially because of the gusty winds and higher elevation.
So mid-80s tomorrow for the coast, low 90s for LA and Orange County Metro, triple digits for the valleys, triple digits for the Inland Empire, mid-90s for the high deserts, and mid-70s for the mountains.
With Southern California's most accurate and dependable forecast, I'm CBS 2 meteorologist Amber Louise. 1070 News Radio.
It's 11:17. A local musician who performed as a regular on a late-night talk show is going to jail for embezzling money from a children's charity.
One-time musical director of the Arsenio Hall show was sentenced to over 2 years in federal prison for embezzling nearly $1 million from a Bulgarian charity for homeless children, using the money to buy cars instead of his alimony debts with his ex-wife. Robin DiMaggio told the nonprofit Peace for You, Peace for Me Foundation he would help organize a charity concert in the Bulgarian capital to raise money for homeless and displaced children from war zones. They sent him nearly $1 million to arrange for artists he said he was securing, who were big names who never agreed to perform, including Mick Jagger. DiMaggio spent the money on cars, credit cards, and withdrew thousands in cash, including in Las Vegas, and eventually filed for bankruptcy and even lied in his filing. Bob Brittle, KNX 1070 News Radio.
Budget bickering continues between the Board of Sheriff of LA County, with the latest issue being the defunding of deputies who patrol the parks in the county.
The Board of Supervisors has voted to reconsider how to ensure safety in county parks now that Sheriff Alex Villanueva decided to reassign deputies in the so-called Parks Bureau to other functions. The board calls the sheriff's action a defunding measure. The sheriff in a news conference says it's the board who in fact did that by reducing his budget by almost $200 million and cited an attorney general's opinion saying once the board allocates his budget, their control over spending ends.
Only the sheriff has control of and responsibility for distribution and training of personnel and the specific use of funds allotted to it.
Villanueva said further the county has a $600 million surplus they could allocate. It would alleviate the majority of the staffing and deployment issues. Pete Demetrio, KNX 1070 News Radio.
Orange County Sheriff Don Barnes hopes to have a body worn implemented by 2022, but he believes it could happen sooner.
The sheriff says they will be putting out a request for proposal for vendors to bid on the project. When that is complete and comes back, he says they will put the program into action.
Staggered implementation. We have a large organization. Identify locations where we're going to implement it first.
Sheriff Barnes says they do have the benefit of having field tested the devices so they know what to expect. As for the benefit of having deputies outfitted with body cams, he says,
I think that will be tremendously beneficial not only for transparency purposes, but for evidentiary value as we encounter those that we are going to arrest or maybe have to recapture what led up to that incident.
He says they will also be keeping the in-car camera system that they've had for decades because both vantage points add a perspective that's necessary to tell a full and complete picture. Margaret Carrero, KNX 1070 News Radio.
20, let's check your money with Mona Rivera.
On the heels of the two-day Prime Day shopping event, Walmart is trying to outdo Amazon by announcing a three-day event. Walmart says it is reinventing the Black Friday shopping experience by offering 3 separate deal days in the month of November. Shares of both Amazon and Walmart finished the day in the red. The Dow closed down 166 points, more than 0.5%. The S&P fell 2/3%. The Nasdaq dropped 0.8%. After the Bell United Airlines issued a worse-than-expected quarterly report and shares fell in after-hours trading. United stock has tumbled 60% this year, the biggest drop on an S&P index of major U.S. airlines. JetBlue is expanding service this winter to ski country. It will fly non-stop from several major cities, including here in Los Angeles, to Montrose, Colorado, starting December 19th. We check your money at 20 and 50 after each hour. I'm Bloomberg. From the HMS Capital Money Desk, KNX 1070 News Radio.
You check your phone, 30 times a day? Because new stuff is always coming in. It's the same with breaking news. We're just hearing about an incident. News doesn't just happen and then stop. It changes.
Emily Valdez is now at the scene of that developing story.
Stay up to date. Check back in the morning, at noon, and before the end of your day. KNX 1070 News Radio. Depend on us.
It's Mike Simpson here, focusing on health, and your family's health has never been more important than it is right now. Hand sanitizer, wipes flying off the shelves, but what about protecting the air that you breathe from those airborne viruses? IQ Air has developed the affordable Autumn Series 5-in-1 personal air purifying system to do just that. Now, the Autumn Series, winner of the Consumer Electronics Global Innovation Award, uses patented, industry-leading hyper-HEPA filtration technology to remove 99% of airborne particulates down to the smallest that exist.
The Autumn's portable. It delivers clean air directly to your breathing zone. You can set it up on any flat surface. It's easy. Coffee table, nightstand, desk, even in your car, anywhere. IQ Air uses state-of-the-art Swiss engineering to create the highest quality products on the market to keep your family safe. So keep the air your family breathes safe. Visit IQAir.com/US to learn some more. Or give them a call, 800-500-4AIR. It's IQAir.com/US or 800-500-4247.
It's 11:22. Los Angeles Storm to a 15-3 victory over Atlanta that cut their series deficit to 2-1. The boys in blue posted the highest-scoring inning in postseason history with an 11-run burst in Game 3 of the NL Championship Series against the Braves. A grand slam by Max Muncy was the third homer in the inning, matching another NLCS record. Jock Peterson and Edwin Rios homered earlier on consecutive pitches against Kyle Wright, the Braves starter who was done after 9 of 15 batters. Peterson said the team had a great time.
We have so many talented players on the team that everyone wants to get a crack at it and thinks they knows that they can contribute to helping our team win, and that's the depth we have and what makes it so fun and competitive.
Clayton Kershaw could start Game 4 of the series for the Dodgers tomorrow if the left-hander's back continues to improve. Kershaw was scrapped from his Game 2 start because of back spasms, and manager Dave Roberts decided to stick with left-hander Julio Urias for Game 3 against Atlanta. Well, the last thing we need in 2020 is a massive earthquake, but it could happen.
A warning from LA area business leaders and lawmakers on the eve of the California Great Shakeout. You need to get your building checked to make sure it can withstand a large earthquake.
And as we know, after a major shock, economic challenges follow.
Aaron Gross is LA's chief resiliency officer.
And if our business community is resilient, not only do we protect the employees and customers of those businesses, but we protect jobs.
Enrique Mexian is with Optimum Seismic. He says 15,000 apartment buildings in the city of LA need retrofitting, but he says in reality there are many, many more.
Most of the buildings that were built before 90s have some sort of structural deficiency and they can benefit from seismic retrofitting.
He says even small seismic improvements can make a huge difference. In downtown LA, Emily Valdez, KNX 1070 News Radio.
A major new art collection is coming to the Getty Museum.
It's the acquisition of 39 Dutch drawings.
These drawings have been in the private collection throughout their history, and I'm really glad that they're now coming to the Getty so they can be shown to the public.
This collection includes drawings by Rembrandt and many other artists of the golden age of Dutch art. Stephanie Schrader is the curator of drawings at the J. Paul Getty Museum.
These are drawings that are intended to be looked at and studied, and you'll be able to do that as just a general visitor coming to the Getty, hopefully in 2021.
The planned purchase was set in motion 2 years ago, but wasn't finalized until this January. Schrader says this is a very large acquisition for the Getty. In fact, she says it's the largest purchase ever for her department. Chris Seatons, KNX 1070 News Radio.
Now, if you'd like to get a look at some of the drawings before the museum opens again, head over to KNX1070.com. Republicans say no, we're not going to remove those drop boxes. They got Secretary Say Padilla. That's in the letter they sent to him, and you'll hear about that coming up in 4 minutes. Right now, traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 5s. Here's Donnie Campos.
In West LA, crews are still working on a crash as we leave 10 East at the 405. They did have all lanes blocked right now. The left 3 are open, and the rest all on the right side are closed. We do have some backup from Cloverfield. You are moving through there. It's going to be a pretty slow drive, though. On the 60 East at 7th, this was a crash, and it looked like it was blocking the left lane, and they are trying to get that over to the right shoulder. They stopped lanes once that right lane is still blocked. The 210 westbound at Citrus, there was a crash that has been moved over to the right shoulder. You might encounter a little bit of slowing as everything recovers. We've got a full freeway closure. This is between Buena Park and, let's see here, Buena Park and Santa Fe Springs. I'm just getting my directions right here so I give you the right information. Santa Fe Springs southbound 5 is closed at Carbonita. Northbound 5 closed from Artesia Boulevard. Seeing a lot of slowing on that southbound 5 where you are detoured off. A quicker way around this will see you need to take the 605 south to the 91 east, and you can rejoin the 5 that way. Next report at 11:35. I'm Tanya Campos with more traffic reports more often. KNX 1070 News Radio.
Tonight's lows are on 70. Clear skies. We're in the 80s and 90s once again tomorrow. tomorrow, lots of sunshine. Glendale 69 right now. Chino Hills has 71. Westminster 72 at 1127.
Owning Corporation, equal housing lender, licensed by the Department of Business Oversight under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act, NMLS 1797976. Call 823-852-6464 for terms and conditions.
Hey, Gary, anything new with you?
But can you believe it? I just crushed my mortgage payment again with owning. But this is the last refi for me.
Why?
Because I got a 15-year fixed rate at 1 3/4%, 1.998 APR. Can you believe that?
Get your last mortgage refi from Owning and own your home free and clear in 180 months. Just call 855-5-OWNING or go to owning.com and ask for your last refi at today's 15-year fixed 1 3/4%, 1.998 APR. That's 15-year fixed at 1 3/4%, 1.998 APR.
Why not get your last refi from Owning? You just gotta call 855-5-OWNING or go to owning.com. That's 855-5-OWNING or go to owning.com.
Hi, I'm Aaron, owner of California Deluxe Windows. Ever notice? When your neighbors get new windows, there is a large black eye of broken stucco, uneven plaster, and even mismatched paint. At California Deluxe Windows, we never leave a ring around the window. Why? Because we are one of the only companies in California who custom crafts every window and door to your home's exact measurements. Almost everyone else on the radio is a distributor. They grab a window from a warehouse, break open your walls, shove it in, and patch things up. At California Deluxe Windows, we take pride in our work. Our installation technique is so precise, we do not break your stucco. Your house could be covered with potato chips, and we wouldn't crack one.
Call now, and for a limited time, you get 20% off your entire order and interest-free financing for 1 year. 800-960-5600. 800-960-5600. That's 800-960-5600. California Deluxe Windows. Windows engineered for life. Certain terms and conditions apply. CSLB number 774. After COVID, can President Trump make a comeback? Greg Kelly says he can win big time. Every weeknight on Newsmax TV, Greg Kelly tells the truth about Trump. Greg speaks with insiders, Dick Morris, Ben Stein, Sean Spicer, and more. Newsmax is on all major cable systems. Check your guide or see it free on Roku, Zumo, YouTube, Pluto, Apple TV, Chromecast, Amazon Fire, and TVs like Samsung and LG. Watch Greg Kelly tonight on Newsmax TV. Everyone is tuning into Newsmax TV.
Do you think all vitamin C's are the same? They're not. Ester C is a superior form of vitamin C. It's the only vitamin C with 24-hour immune support, and it lasts up to 2 times longer than regular vitamin C. So don't just settle for any vitamin C. Buy Ester C and support your immune health today. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This is Southern California's only 24-hour...